Let's get us started. Hi there, how you guys doing? So, the reason why we're gathered today is because I recognize, talking to colleagues, that international, worldwide, we start having issues. We have issues with dogs having separation anxiety. We start having issues with dog showing aggression. Many people adopted a dog right after Christmas and then they ended up not being able to socialize, not being able to go to classes, and not being able to do everything necessary to raise a perfectly well-adjusted puppy. Now, the reason why we want to pay attention here is because whatever's happening now during that period of confinement and lockdown and slowly opening up a little bit, your dog is going through a process of new adjustments. So we want to be proactively working on this stuff, because if you're not working from home and prepare your dog, you will not be able to address those issues outside. So we want to make sure that dogs recognize that you have a stable routine. Dogs rely on rituals and rely on routines. The moment you wake up in the morning, the moment he goes out for potty, the moment you guys have feeding time, the moment the dog goes in this crate, the moment you take him out for a walk, the time you have to play, everything has this regulation. And dogs rely on that. If there is no regulatory system in place, dogs get anxiety, they get stressed, they're not sure what's going to happen next. And dogs don't have this intellectual capacity to think the way we think they can. What they rely on is individual events. When you come home, you spend time with your dog, that's fine. If you leave the house, what's going to happen next? He doesn't know until you return. And so there are small things that are happening. So we want also to, during that period, to help your dog in that transition on this upcoming new schedule that you're up to. Some of you guys have, I haven't been on a job for a couple of months, so the puppy is constantly with you all the time. And now you're planning ahead to get a job, and likely your working schedule will be 8 to 4, 8 to 5, or 9 to 5. How would your dog do that? Well, right now it's 24/7 with you, and all of a sudden you will not be there half of the day. So we want to be proactively working on stuff. For example, avoiding separation anxiety. And I want to stick to that separation anxiety a little bit because all of us are affected by it. I am as well here, because usually I would go out to clients all the time, but now I'm not for this couple of months. So my dogs start having some issues and I have to be very careful working on that. And so let's discuss that a little bit. First of all, we have to understand separation anxiety. Separation anxiety is an anxiety that is based on fear. So we have excitement on one side and anxiety on the other side. So they're exactly the opposites. The more excitement, the less anxiety. The more anxiety, the less excitement. So excitement goes up all the way up to a certain point, and then it flips, becomes anxiety. So having fun and having fear, there is a switching point. When we work with a dog, all we want to do is being in that level of excitement. Sorry. Of excitement. We don't want to have too much excitement, because if we have too much excitement, then the dog will not be able to remember. Remember, dogs have different ways of perceiving information than we do. They don't read the book. They see what we do, and then they make conclusions based on those repetitions that we do. So again, what we want to talk about today is discussing preventing separation anxiety, social anxiety, and how to prevent aggression and depression in dogs. So we will have to work proactively on those separation anxiety, especially because we soon will change our schedule. So I would start definitely getting a regular exercise and personal interaction with your dog starting in the morning when you guys wake up. What is the ritual that you guys do in the morning? What is the thing that you and your dog have going on? He's coming up in your bed, jumping on the bed, wakes you up, you guys snuggle a little bit, okay? And then suddenly what's going to happen is you have to change that. You have to change time, different time schedule. The dog is not ready to go to the bathroom. You get stressed. You want to get ready, get in the car, get the kids ready. And all of a sudden, the whole thing falls apart. And the dog is like, oh my God, we have a problem here. The system doesn't work anymore. So I suggest start creating these theoretically schedule of yours that's going to happen in a month from now. The faster it happens, the better for you. So plan ahead a little bit. And meanwhile, while you're having this discussion, maybe you want to share your opinion so far. What is your experience in working with your dog in regards to separation anxiety? Have you seen any tendencies? We're going to talk about that. So the next thing we're going to look for is teaching your dog that you leave because you have to return. Now, what dogs happens usually is they see us leaving at the door and then we're gone. And then we're coming back. And then we say hello to the dog. And then the ritual is over. But what's in for the dog? Just you? Why did you leave? So from a dog's perspective, we have to see that as a species. The reason why his parents leave is because they go for hunting. And when they come back, there is a feast going on. Okay, there's something in for the dogs that waited so long there. Now, when you come back home from work, what do you give to your dog? Why do you think your dog see you leaving? Now, there are two options for that. The one is you didn't like him, his job, and you left him behind and did your own business while your dog was left behind. So we have separation anxiety because of a job description. Your dog had the truly belief system that he has to be with you all the time. And now suddenly that system doesn't work anymore, and so you're leaving your dog behind and walk away. Well, you created a dog whose job is to be with you all the time, 24/7. Cane Corso, Presa Canario, Mastiffs, Dachshunds, Great Danes, no matter what dog it is, if he gets rewarded every time he's next to you, that becomes a condition. Okay? Now, when we look for the dog's behavior, we have two main structures. The one is the dog has to be with you all the time, and the other dog is the dog has to be entertained and enriched on his own. A dog who cannot entertain himself, he always is in need of somebody else. So people come on and pick up another dog, so your dog has another partner. Great, especially now where everybody wants to adopt a dog and foster a dog. Perfect opportunity. But it's not that any dog is a born babysitter or puppy sitter. Some dogs have no clue about parenting dogs, because what happens is that dogs are not born parents. It's an experience. It's an educational level of being a dog parent, both ways, dogs and people. So dogs are not born being parents. They are born being dogs. And dogs are active, interactive, and playing with each other. But if I don't like the way he plays and I'm upset about it, I'm going to bite his face off because he doesn't get the message. So in that case, what we see is that if we want to get another dog to deal with the dog's separation anxiety, we may end up in a problem that that dog doesn't want that. And so you have two problems, a dog who is dog aggressive and a dog with separation anxiety. Before you do that mistake, reach out to me. Let's talk about that. Why do you want the dog? Why do you want to add another dog into family? How will the one dog perceive that? What would the dog have the other problems with it? Because we have to see all this both sides. I closed just a phone with a client of mine whose puppy is attacking the elder dog. Literally, he's chewing on his nose, bleeding his ears, because he has nothing else to do. Well, for the puppy, it's fun. For the older dog, it's not, because he's too old to move around. He's basically just laying around, doing nothing, and that's a perfect victim for a puppy that always wants to chew on something. And if he doesn't get to the dog, then he's going to the doors. And if he doesn't get to the doors, he's going to the shoes. And if he doesn't get shoes, this whole system falling apart. So, one thing you need to look for is when you teach your dog that you will leave for a turn, your dog naturally will have a separation anxiety, a healthy natural separation anxiety that puts the dog in a freeze mode. When puppies are young and they are in a den, the first thing is going to happen and the mama leaves, they are in a state of anxiety. It's a healthy anxiety that keeps the dog safe. In that anxiety, the puppy is not going to move. He's going to stick there under the radar so nobody will find him who's hiding in the den until mom comes back. with food, and mom comes back, puppy is happy, and that will be a reward. So the puppy learns, conditioned, that slowly that separation anxiety is fading out because the puppy sees a consistency. Mommy leaves for food. Mommy leaves for food. Daddy leaves for food. Everybody leaves for food. So why worry? I'm here just waiting for food because that's what we do. That's why she leaves. So I'm not need to worry about that because I have abundance of food after that. So being patient and being staying put is rewarded by waiting. So the puppy waits, puppy gets rewarded. So the consequence of not going crazy is being rewarded. The next thing we're going to do here is understanding that we shouldn't encourage the dog to be our velcro. You know velcro? That scratchy thing that sticks to everything? Now, how is this happening? Dog comes up to you. The first thing he's going to do, oh, hi, how are you doing? Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you for licking my hand. Back to work. Oh, here he comes again. Hi, are you okay? Everything okay? And every time your dog comes back, he gets attention. So now your dog is coming back for attention, and you're always available. Every time your dog is here, your hand goes down. If your dog wants to jump up, whoop, up he goes, he steps on your lap, and that's what you do, right? Now, that becomes a job description. Your job description is be my velcro. I'm not doing any advertising for any advertising companies here, so don't take me wrong. A velcro is something that sticks to you all the time. You are rewarding it with your gestures, with your attention. So, solution to that, help your dog recognizing that you are not available all the time. If you don't give your dog a clear job, he's not getting paid. So if he wants to get paid, the first thing to do is to go back to his place. From there, you're going to call him when you need him, your dog, right? Now, if you have to leave, the whole concept is that I come back because you are on your bed and you are here being calm. So how we address that, if your dog is a velcro and you want to stop that from happening, start creating boundaries. Don't let your dog follow you to the bathroom. Don't let the dog follow you everywhere. Well, where are you going? What are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you bending over? Why are you on your knees? Why are you on your couch? Why are you going to the bathroom? Boundaries. I know it's hard because it's just stinking cute, right? But trust me, you make your life so much easier if you say to your dog, stay there, don't move. Teach your dog that not moving for a certain period of time is totally okay. And then I invite you to come and play with me. The reason why you're waiting is because we're going to play soon. So you create a reason for that. Dogs learn so easily if they understand what it is about. It's not really about conditioning, it's about understanding. So you can have your dog clueless, you can conditioning your dog to do certain things that he doesn't understand, but it will never be as good as he understands the reason why you do things. That will be rewarding himself because the dog wants to have an experience. So from that aspect, don't encourage your dog and don't reward your dog for following. The other thing we have to learn the dog is to offer breed-appropriate environmental enrichment. Breed-appropriate environmental enrichment. Now, if your dog is a small puppy, don't give him a bone like that. He doesn't know how to chew it. Okay? If you have a soft young puppy, he wants to chew on everything, don't give him one particular toy that you like. It has to be a toy that is safe for your dog to chew on, and it's also appropriate for the breed. Okay? And it's something that's easy for him to handle. Some toys are so difficult to handle, the dog is bored and doesn't like to play with them. A hunting dog, the first thing he's going to do is going to shred things apart. He wants to take out the intestines of that toy. Okay? Some other dogs wants to tug of war with things. So find a toy that your dog likes to play with, something that is active on its own. Because puppies in that age and dogs want to do things that are actively engaging with them, not boring hanging around. I see all the time people says, oh, my dog has like 300 toys around. Okay, that's boring. Which one of those toys trigger your dog to play with? None of them. The only one who can trigger them is you playing that toy with that dog, right? So enrichment toys are things that occupies the dog for a long period of time and gives the dog and emotional satisfaction in either way. We're going to talk about enrichment in a different, but for now, all I want you to do is find something the dog is really interactive with, and he's not focusing on you leaving, he's focusing on the toy. But at the same time, when you come back after a certain period of time, he recognized like, oh, you're back? Oh, what do you have for me? Perfect. Thank you for coming back. So he's looking forward for you to return instead of looking forward for you to leave. That's the magic key on separation anxiety, is what the dog thinks is going to happen if you leave the house. So it's not about you leaving, it's about you returning. And that's your sequence that you have to work on. So other thing that we have to teach the dog is that he can totally be independent. And I know, micromanaging is great. Do this and don't do that, and do this and don't do that. Let your dog experience, but it has to be safe for your dog. So if you have a puppy, your house has to be puppy safe. If you have a foster, your dog has to be dog safe in any ways possible. You don't know what the foster will come up with, and you don't want to correct him for doing some mistakes. Don't give him the opportunity at the first place. So if you want the dog to be independent and do his own stuff, you have to let him explore things that are safe for him to do. Does he have access to the yard? What will going to happen if he's outside? Do you need to be there all the time? No, you don't. But will he get in trouble? Will he chew on the hose? Will he chew on the sprinkler system? Will he chase the cats of the neighbor? He will attack the fence? You need to know that. You have to observe it. Now, working on separation anxiety is proactive work. Don't let it happen. Try not to get there. If you get there and your dog starts showing signs of separation anxiety, you have to be very careful. I'm going to post a link on my Facebook on that link, because I had put together a whole list about separation anxiety. Read through that. Okay? Now, stay with me, because we're going to discuss a couple of things, and by the end, I'm going to give you a discount code. If you need a training session, you will get a discounted one. Okay? Now, one thing we want to do is we want also to see the social interactions with the dog once the COVID is over and you guys have to get out. So refresh your dog and educate your dog about social interactions. What do we do when we meet people? How do we get there? What's the way to approach a person? What to expect from it? I see this all the time. People expect the dog to comply until he doesn't. And then they get frustrated and upset. Unfortunately, I had an event today where a person was talking to another person and a dog snapped at that person because the system wasn't set up for it. So the dog had wrong thoughts. He believed something has to happen that didn't happen. And then that person had no clue what happened. And all of a sudden the dog got reactive because he was frustrated that somebody didn't comply to the rules that somebody put in place. So it can happen sometimes, but what I will focus on is creating rules and structure in those social gatherings and social interactions that are predictable to your dog, so he knows what to expect. So if your dog expects people to give him a treat, then one person who will not give him a treat is going to fail. So maybe we have to teach the dog there are several ways to interact with each other. The first one is you come. The next one is you sit. The next one is you get either a treat or get petted. Or if both not happening, you have 3 seconds to walk away from there, because that's what's going to do next. I'm going to reward you for walking away after 3 seconds. So creating this 3-second rule is a very important tool. 3 seconds is what the event is last. You go in, you get a treat, you get out. You go in, you get petted, you get out. You go in, you get nothing, you get out. So either or, 3 seconds later, you're grabbing your packs and we walk away from there. So that's the key factor, teaching the dog what to expect. So if we say about social interactions and socialization, all we mean is the dog should have a solution to his problems. And if you guys have any questions, it's a good time to typing in, because we're kind of wrapping it up a little bit, okay? Now, the next thing we want to look for is, what if the dog is reactive and aggressive in those social interactions? How do we set them up? Well, you cannot teach an aggressive dog how to be a good dog while it's happening. So the dog has to trust you first. So if you don't have a secure attachment relationship and your dog doesn't trust you through the process, your dog will do things on his own, and it's likely you're not going to be happy about that. So very important, build secure attachment relationship, Start teaching your dog individual parts of that exercise. This create trial training and teach them each individual steps. Even if they're not in a consistent row, but they're happening individually, at some point you can merge them together in a complete job description. You and me are walking together calm down the street. If we see a person, step number one, check in with me and see if it's appropriate to continue, yes or no. If yes, proceed with me calm and patient until we're 6 feet away from the person. We sit, we wait for further instructions. Pay attention to me, give me a signal when you're ready to meet. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Meeting is over. We go back to our original spot where we're safe. So you have to understand the safe distance. You have to understand functional behaviors. You have to understand the dog's emotional thresholds. If you don't see that, if you don't know what I'm talking about, let's sit down together and discuss that, because these are important factors if you want your dog to be socially successful. If you don't know these basic parts, you're going to fail. Your dog will fail, and you don't want that, right? So become aware of your dog's displacement signals. Simple signals: lip licking, lifting the dog's legs, body language, the tail, the head, all these are informations. If you don't know what displacement signals are, you will not be successfully walk your dog through a process that he has to be comfortable about, because you don't see it coming. Wow, people say, oh, my dog was wagging his tail. Well, not really, because what happened is the dog was wagging his tail very short. He was very tense. So what you see as a wagging tail, for me, it's actually the dog is tense. Well, my dog was just wagging his tail, so I thought he's happy. Well, he's happy to do what? He's happy to attack people and dogs, or is he happy meeting people and dogs? Well, from his perspective, it's just fun game to play with and attacking people in their faces. Or is it more appropriate he's happy because he wants to get a treat, and he knows when he behaves that way makes him happy to get a treat. So just because the tail is wagging doesn't mean the dog wants to do what you think he wants to do. If you're not sure what that is, don't get started at all. You can test run it. There are safety tools there, for example, a muzzle. There's a leash. Okay, there's a safe barrier in between where you can observe the dog's how he escalates to the next level. He comes over, he's happy, and then he's there, and then he gets frustrated, and then he changes his idea, and then all of a sudden he bites. How did that happen? He was wagging his tail, he changed his mind, he didn't know what to do, he chose to fight. See what I mean? Now, before you change your dog's mind, you have to become aware if your dog doesn't have an alternative behavior, he doesn't know what to do else. You cannot just say no to things your dog does wrong and not giving him a different outlet. Like, for example, you're in Japan and you want to greet people, right? What do? We reach out our hands and somebody says no. And you're like, no what? No. And you're like, okay, no what? No. You don't know what he means. But if somebody tells you, you know, we in Japan, we don't shake hands. We bow each other and respect each other's space. Oh, okay. I can do that. You didn't hear a no. You had an alternative experience, option number one, option number two, and somebody tell you, if you do this, you get rewarded. If you do that, I will not greet you. Which one do you choose? The one that is social, more appreciated. Meaning is, oh, if I bow, now we're friends? Exactly. Now we go have a sushi. Make sense? So if you don't create your dog's alternative behavior, prepare the dog for the alternative behavior, teach him how it looks like and how beneficial it is, you cannot just cut the other one off because you don't like it. Make sense? Julie, can you expand more about coming back with goodies? Okay. Yeah, we can do that. Give me a second. Let's finish it up and then we can discuss that. So the next thing we're going to talk about here is when we go and understand the dog's emotional threshold. Where does the threshold start? Ooh, what's that? Let's look at that a little bit. So we have on the threshold, We have at threshold and we have over threshold. So when the dog approaches the situation and your dog is calm and he shows no signs of fear, no concerns, will take treats, follow commands, and suddenly that changes. At some point, something changes in your dog's behavior. That is that black yellow frame. That is where your dog thinks about changing his emotions about, and that is where he gets at the threshold of at threshold. That is where your dog's supposed to message you and tell you, hey, I'm about to be confused what's going to happen next. I'm not sure what's going to happen next. Can you help me? So if you don't have created a secure attachment relationship, your dog will not choose that. But the next thing he's going to do is going to get tense. He's going to show signs of insecurity. He will be concerned. He will not take any treats. He will not follow commands. And the thing will escalate as soon as the stressor gives him an alternative response that he didn't like. Then your dog will go over threshold, which is reactive, showing signs of fear and aggression, will be in freeze, fight, or flight mode. It's not a healthy place to be for your dog, and the best way to be is not to be there in the first place. So if you feel your dog is changing emotions and you don't know why, you have to make a U-turn, go back where you came from, and make that place safe before you go back into the previous threshold. Now, the next thing we're going to look for is yes, good, gets you 25% faster than saying no. Now, scientific evidence says if your dog knows what you like and what you prefer and what he gets rewarded for, he's faster to learn if you just tell him no. Remember greeting Japanese people? If you want to shake the hands, nobody will do that. And if somebody says no to you, you will not. But if you greet them like that, and it's like, yes, thank you, whatever they say for that in their language, then you know, oh, that's what he likes. Oh, I do more of that. So the functional behavior is that a dog will more likely do something that he's appreciated and rewarded for than something that he's going to get no, and he doesn't get further information with that. So let's go back to your questions before we go and discuss a little bit about depression. Your comments. Good. So can you expand a bit about coming back with goodies? So let's give it an example. Picture you're your dog and you're sitting on your couch watching you getting ready. Okay, you grab your keys, grab a sip of your coffee, put your shoes on, grab your bag, make your hair, filling up my water bowl. Oh, here he comes. Now I have to go in my crate. Jesus. Okay, now in my crate, you close the door. You look sad. You're leaving me behind. I get it. You're going to be gone for 8 hours. Great. I will be trapped in. You know what? I'm going to whine right now just in case you change your mind and let me out of here. Whine, 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 cry, scratch, bite, everything. And you're like, oh my God, I have to get a bigger crate, a stronger crate. But what's happening now is your dog is going in the vicious circle. He starts having negative thought patterns. He sees you leaving and he's going already into that tantrum and in that fear state that he's going to be trapped in that crate. Now, how long do you think that will last? As soon as the door closes, he wants to get out because you left your dog behind and is not be able to attend. So, if, let's say, for example, the dog would change his mind about why you're leaving, and instead of the dog looking towards you leaving, he's looking towards you returning. How do we set that up? Well, very easy. Okay, sit and stay, couple of seconds, and then call your dog to come to you. Reward. The reason why you waited is because you get at the end something to snack. So we slowly start creating the idea of what we're going to plan at the end. The idea is waiting. Waiting for what? Waiting to get rewarded. Good. The next factor is time. Well, when do I get rewarded? Well, after a period of time. Now, what is the period of time? Minutes? Dogs don't understand minutes. What they understand, though, is events. I get my food after she calls me to come to her. Great. So there is an event in between me waiting and my food. So if I wait, then I get rewarded if she calls me to get my treat. That makes me happy. What am I looking for now? Is for the person to tell me, come. So I'm not looking to get the treat, I'm looking for the word come that leads me to the treat. So we have primary reinforcers and secondary reinforcers. I'm not going deeper than that. So what we look for here is the dog first impression is, what do you want me to do to get what I expect? Good. Now we add the distance to that. Now you sit and stay there. I'm gonna go over there, wait for there, and then I call you to come and get your treat. And then we're gonna escalate these things while I am gone for 3 seconds. I'll come back and give you a treat. I'll call you for that. So now we add disappearing into the equation. Before, we're just waiting, then waiting in distance, then waiting in time, then waiting even if I disappear. How do I disappear? I can disappear behind the wall. I can disappear behind the door. I can disappear through different doors, but all you look for is me calling you for that reward, for that goodie, right? And once the dog understands the concept that he has to stay and wait for the goodie when you tell him to come while you're gone and return, now the dog is understanding, oh, so you're leaving and then you're coming and then you call me and I get paid for it. Yeah, I like that game. I'm just have to do is wait here for you. Exactly. And then we add the duration, like the human duration. Usually dogs have that sense of short. It's kind of like short is until the next event happens. Then we have a long-term time until I get bored. And then we have a very long time until I wake up. So we have these different timelines that we need to teach the dog what to do. So the first one is, of course, the regular time of short. Stay there until something happens, until I call you. And then something happens until I come back. And then something happens until you wake up. You wake up when I return, and that's what we do. So this is the point where we have to teach the dog these individual pieces of what to look for. Now, one thing we're going to discuss now is about depression. If the dog has an emotional relationship with you, like, parent dog relationship, and things don't work for him as well, then the dog gets sad. He feels he's not appreciated and he's not being respected. And if that comes into his mind and then you leave the house, the whole system will fall apart. So appreciation is a very important part for your dog to counter work with depression. When the dog gets depressed, if it doesn't have a value, if it doesn't feel he's offering a service, if it doesn't feel that the service that he offers is appreciated. So important factor. If you ask your dog to do something, appreciate your dog. Appreciation is a heart-centered concept. I appreciate you for joining us today and watching that video for so long. We almost are here, like, if I guess right, almost half an hour plus, right? So I appreciate you for being here. And because I appreciate you, I'm going to give you a super goodie. Okay? Now, what I will give you a goodie is the code word COVID-10. Okay? Capital letters. COVID-10. So that is your discount code. So if you have any problem with your dog in any of those issues, aggression, separation anxiety, depression, schedule an appointment. Use that opportunity to understand what to do with it, because each behavior is individual on the dog. I just explained to you the general concept. What exactly fits your dog's best? I don't know. I don't know your schedule. I don't know your routines. I don't know how you guys have a relationship, but we can put it together and we can make a better overview so we understand exactly what's happening here. So if you want to do that, I'm going to post my comment here. Go into holistic dog training. online training. Got it right? Did I say it right? Yep. Holisticdogtraining.org online training. And here you go. holisticdogtraining.org/online training, right? And then you schedule one of these individual sessions. Okay, it's called functional behavior assessment. And then you use that discount code COVID10 in capital letters, and then you schedule your appointment. I guarantee you we're gonna find that. We're gonna find that, and we're gonna discuss why it's happening and what to do about it. Okay? So, do you guys have any other questions? We have a couple of minutes left. Good. Meanwhile, I'm gonna pull that slide so you guys can remember what happens if we don't pay attention to our dog. This tsunami will hit us really bad, and all those people who don't deal with their dogs, they're gonna end up surrendering the dog back to the shelter, and we don't want that. Okay, it's not just you who may have a problem. There are other people who have no clue that's gonna happen, and suddenly they're gonna, oh my god, I didn't know. I didn't know that my dog can have separation anxiety if I leave him alone after 3 months of constantly being next to each other. I didn't know that my dog can turn aggressive because he doesn't know what to do when we're going social. And I didn't know that my dog will have depression because I never appreciate him what we did for me. Right? But most important is that you guys have the opportunity to work with a professional that can help you out. Okay? So use that code word COVID10, schedule your appointment, and that appointment you can get at holisticdogtraining.org/online training. You scroll down, find the appointment that fits you best, and go for it. 20 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, no matter which one you choose, you get the answers that you need that will fit in that time frame. If you have more dogs than one, likely go for the big session because that will likely answer all the questions. If you just have a small thing that you don't know about, just go for a short session. Saves you a bunch of money for that too, right? So thanks again for watching. Please share because I think it's important for other people to know too. And looking forward to hear back from you. Any comments? I'm happy to reply. Have a great day.